everyone, and welcome back to Winter 89 Colors. I am here with you today with our favorite video, everyone's favorite video. It is time for the completed pages. So this month, I did actually do a little bit of a wrap-up. I've kind of been organized once again. Every month it gets a little better. I'm catching up, guys. Don't worry about it. So our stats for this month, I have colored a total of 19 pages as opposed to 18 last month. That seems to be about my average, and I think that's pretty good. It's not bad. I think I'm just going to try to stick with roughly that number and, not try to push myself too much. Of those 19 pages, I colored 17 books, so there was a couple of doubles, but not many. I touched 5 uncolored books this month, which is pretty great, I think, as opposed to the 0 last month. I finished 4 long-time whips, so that's also very exciting. I'm slowly getting through the pile, which is really awesome. I don't have a ton of long-term whips left, aside from in some of my really old books where I don't know if I'll ever finish some of those whips because they were really questionable, but that's fine. I didn't count my whips last month, so I don't really know, but I'm going to from now on. So I gained a total of 10 books this month, so I went from 79 to 89, so not great. We shouldn't be buying that many books, but we'll try to get that under control next month. But based on that, because of all the uncolored books I went with and all that, so I have a total of 89 books, not including my color by numbers or doubles or anything like that. This is just the books that I'm counting in my official collection. So 37 of them are still uncolored, but that leaves me with 41.5%. So only 41.5% of my books are uncolored, so that's less than 50%, which is pretty good. And that is down 2% from last month, despite me having gained some new books. So we're headed in the right track. We are going in the right direction. And again, these are just for fun, but on Instagram, last month I counted 587 followers, and now we're up to over 600 at 603, so that's super exciting. And my YouTube subscribers, wow, I am really impressed with this because last count was 405. We are now up to 471, which means I have gained nearly 70 subscribers in 1 month, and that is awesome, you guys. I really, really appreciate it. But that also means we're getting really close to the 500 mark, so if you haven't subscribed already, please do that now, and let's see if we can get that number up there. Love you. Alrighty. So for the coming month, these are kind of my things that I'm going to be trying to focus on, things that have changed on the channel, things like that. So as some of you may have noticed, I put up a color by number video showing all the color by numbers that I still have in my possession that I've completed. And I've said that I might continue to do that if there is any interest at all. And I'm going to now include my diamond paintings, such as this one, in those videos because I feel like they're kind of like a color by number, right? So I'm going to count those together, and that's going to be sort of its own separate category, the color by numbers, the diamond paintings, all that kind of stuff. It's still going to be on the channel, but it's going to kind of be like a side thing, and it's going to be its own thing. I'm not going to include it with all my other coloring books. So I have one confirmed and official buddy color, and that is with my Starseed. And we are going to be coloring a page in Worlds of Wonder. So that's really exciting. This is, I'm really hoping that we can work together on this and get that done because we picked a really nice little picture. I'm going to try to expand my journaling techniques because as you can see, they are questionable at best. So far I'm getting better. Obviously, this is the best I've done so far with keeping track of things. And I'm hoping that eventually I'll be able to get myself a really nice, like creative companion or something like that to actually do real tracking. But for now, at least I'm sort of thinking ahead and trying to track things and, write things down as I go. So that's nice. Another thing I've been meaning to do for quite some time is do a studio tour. I showed you in one of my last videos what was going on as far as how I do my color by numbers and stuff when I'm at my day job at work. And that was just a quick little thing because I only have a couple of books there just to kind of take my mind off things if I need it when I'm at work between clients, etc. But it would be nice for you to see what I have at home, all the materials that I have, the things I like to use, how I organize. I see a lot of people doing that, and I think that that would be nice for you to see how I work and what my life is like here in my home studio. Alrighty, so I think that's about everything I have to say. Yeah, so with that in mind, let's get on to the books. So these are in no particular order. They're basically just kind of put in a pile that will not fall over is basically kind of what I was going for here. So bear with me. So the first book that we have is Sweet and Simple Whimsy Girls by Hannah Lynn. And this was an untouched book, and it now has its first completed page. And I completed this little Easter Bunny girl. Zoom in for you on this one. So, not super happy with the way the face turned out. I meant to do some shadowing here to create sort of a nose shadowing kind of thing. It did not work out. It does not look great. The rest of her shadowing on her arms and stuff looks fine. The dress looks fine. Whatever. We live, we learn. So the hair was, well, everything was based in Ohuhu alcohol markers. The hair, I did use Prismacolors to create all that shadowing and highlights and stuff like that. I've also got it on the eggs here for shadowing. We've got on the background here, I've got extreme glitter over top of the alcohol marker to create that nice glittery shine that you can see. We've got glossy accents on her eyes, as well as some, just glossy accents, never mind. We've got Sakura Glaze for the eyelashes, and I've got some Sparkle Pop for that border edge. All right, so that is Sweet and Simple Whimsy Girls by Hannah Lynn. Next, we have another Hannah Lynn. We have Enchanted Faces. So this was another untouched book, brand new. So here we go. So I finished this Butterfly Lady. It's another Eastery spring picture. So this was a real Mod Podge of things. So the background, the sunbeams and the sky, that was all Albrecht Dürer activated with water. Everything else was based in, and her hair was also Albrecht Dürer. Everything else was based in Ohuhu alcohol markers with some polychromos for shading. We've got Sparkle Pop, sparkles. We've got Ohuhu glitter markers, Sakura Glaze, lots of different stuff just to kind of create all these different colors. Yeah, I think she turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with her. I'm getting a little better with this skin stuff. Not great, but we're getting there. Alrighty, so that was Enchanted Faces. Next we have, let me zoom out. Next we have Morning Scribbles by Chris Rainiak. And I did two in here. First one I did is this adorable sun and cloud picture. It just reminded me of the sun trying to peek out through, the clouds during the spring. And of course, this little cloud representing the rain, April showers, etc. So again, this was a lot of different things. The cloud and the sun themselves were done with oil pastel. I then outlined the cloud using a white Posca, I believe. We've got Sparkle Pop for all the sparkles everywhere. Ohuhu glitter marker for those three little birds. And then the background is all soft pastel. All right, and then the next one, you may have seen this one on my Instagram. And that's our Blue Jay. So he was done largely with Albrecht Dürer's activated with water to begin with. And then afterwards, I put a coat on each of the different colors of a pearlescent watercolor, just to kind of give him some shine. And then of course his eye is glossy accents. Here, let me give him, yeah, see that little bit of pearlescent shine? And then the background is pan pastel. I like the way he turned out. He was really simple, not very difficult to do, but it was really effective. And that is Chris Rainiak's Morning Scribbles. Next, we have Morgan O'Brien's Matchstick Mouse. This was another untouched book. And in here, we did this little ducky and this little, and of course, our little witch mouse. And this was again done with Albrecht Dürer and polychromos. Mostly Albrecht Dürer though, very little polychromos. And then just a little bit of Posca to outline the clouds. And that's it. No real, oh, just the center of the flowers is some Sparkle Pop. But no real anything other than that. That shine is just because I sprayed Mod Podge sealant on it, and hence the crinkly nature of the paper. I just wanted to try and see how it would seal, and it works pretty well, but on this Amazon paper it does crinkle a little because it's water-based. But yeah. So that's Springtime Matchstick Mouse. Next up we have Morgan O'Brien's Welcome to the Village. Apparently this is based on Animal Crossing. I think I may have played it on my phone once. That's about it, but here we go. So I did do 2 in this one as well. So the first one that I did was this shark picture. So again, based in Ohuhu alcohol markers, and shaded with alcohol markers as well. Nothing really fancy about it. There's a little bit of glitter on the clouds here, dragonfly glaze. A little bit of glitter gel pen, some jelly roll glaze on her eyes, and then I coated the shark in just a gloss acrylic medium just to give him a little bit of shine. Nothing crazy. And then of course a lot of acrylic pen markers to outline all the water and what have you. Yeah, turned out nice. Just a really simple page once again. I'm kind of trying to finish this book. I think this is the book I want to finish first because it doesn't have a ton of pictures in it. And I'm almost halfway through it. So if I can do like 2 pages a month in that would be great. Next one I did Isabelle. Again, I was just in a mood to just do something really simple. So just straight coloring with alcohol markers and then some dragonfly glaze and a little bit of gold gel pen. But that's about it. Nothing really fancy. And that's Welcome to the Village. Next up, we have 50 Prehistoric Miniatures by Camelia Angelkova. Oops, I better put this back. Hold on a second. I forgot to put my tissue back. There we go. Okay, 50 Prehistoric Miniatures. And this was a special one once again because it was a split color with one of my other roommates. So I've mentioned to you a couple of times before, my roommates are artists, like professional artists. And so I did a split color with one of them last month, and that was this one here. And this was the other one here. And he's more of an abstract dark artist. So his was significantly different than the last one. But it's still really fun to see the differences. And it's such a stark contrast. I did such a light and simple classic on my side, and he did such a dark and strange one on his side. And that just seems to fit the mold. So that was a lot of fun. I just used Ohuhu alcohol markers, a little bit of soft pastel for the background, and Prismacolor for shading, and glossy accents on the eyes. Him, I think it was just all Prismacolor, if I'm not mistaken. 50 Prehistoric Miniatures. Next, Die Welt unter the Loop, Zuland by Rita Berman. And here we did this little nest of eggs. And I thought this was very springtime. It was one of the ones I had planned on doing for spring, so I'm glad I got it done. And I did it with Albrecht Dürer and gel pen and jelly roll glaze, and that is it. Turned out really, really good. Just soft. Those Albrecht Dürer can really create that nice pastel effect. So I was really happy with the way that turned out. And that's Rita Berman. Next, we have Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. I'm kind of working from front to back on this one, if you weren't aware. So I got this double page done. The background is all soft pastel. I believe I used Prismacolor, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that looks like Prisma. No, let me double check. Yeah, that's Prismacolor for all of the pencil work, and then there's a ton of different gel pens in here. We've got Jelly Rolls and Sparkle Pops and Sakura Glaze. Sakura Glaze particularly for the ink on the butterfly here, and that's going to be a recurring theme, I think. Yeah, lots of gel pen. Oh, and I did a nice little bokeh background over here, although it's a cheater bokeh background. So I did Albrecht Dürer for the back, and then I used white Posca to create the circles. So I cheated a little bit, but that's okay. Is there such a thing as cheating? I'm not sure. So the next one I have to do, I've got it marked out, this one, and I've got all the colors for my butterfly here. So hopefully I can get around to this one this month. Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. Next up, we have Broken Circles by Tabitha L. Barnett. And this was another one that was on my to-do list. And that is the St. Patrick's page. And boy, oh boy, is there glitter in here. I thought it was appropriate for the St. Patty's Day. It's all extreme glitter, or glitterific, by Folk Art. But it's all based with Ohuhu alcohol markers. And then I've got, yeah, that's Prismacolor for all the pencil work. And there's a few glitter gel pens and things in there. But yeah, basically it's just entirely glitter. That's the whole thing right there. Yeah, so that's Broken Circles by Tabitha Barnett. Next up we have Nightfall by Maria Troy. And I finished this page. This lady with her squirrel friend. So this was done all with polychromos, barring a few of the, oh, and her hair is Albrecht Dürer, activated. And then there's pan pastel around for the edging. And then just a few sparkle pops for the glitter accents. I thought the skin and hair turned out not bad. You see how I tried to create the bridge of the nose here using some shading? That turned out much better on her than it did on that first picture I showed you. Yeah, I thought that turned out quite nicely. I'm happy with it. And another one done in Nightfall. Next up is 50 Jungle Miniatures by Camellia Angelkova. This one has a color along up on the channel. So this one was based with alcohol markers, and I used Prismacolors with a heavy emphasis on using the Prismacolor blender to blend out all of the shading and coloring. And then just a few accents such as some Jelly Roll glaze and some Sparkle Pop. But yeah, if you want to check out my channel, you can find that color along. It's 50 Jungle Miniatures. Now on to 50 Space-themed miniatures, one of my favorite Camellia books. And in here we did this alien and human holding hands picture. They've got little balloons to represent the planets they came from. It's all Ohuhu markers, homemade glitter glue for the stars and all that kind of stuff. And then Jelly Roll glaze on his mask and her eyes. Oh, and a little bit of pencil just for the shading on this rock here. And on the Earth and planet. I use more pencil than I think I do sometimes. But yeah, I thought that was really cute. Just a really fun, simple one once again. And the next one is Country Gardens by Teresa Goodridge. This was another untouched book. So I finished this one. Again, you can find this one on my Instagram. The Secret Garden page. This is all based in Ohuhu alcohol marker with really basic Prismacolor shading. I didn't go too crazy. The only thing I really put some effort into, honestly, was the sky back here. Bring that up so you can see. I shaded it so it looks a little bit kind of like a sunrise, I think. Or sunset. No, sunrise, I would say. And yeah, but the rest is all just basic shading. I didn't do anything crazy. I let the alcohol markers speak for themselves. And then some gel pen for the border and the little sign. And the little bird I did shade quite well too. I think I blended that out with the blender. Yeah. Very nice. Teresa Goodridge. Next, Mythographic Paradise. This was a bit of a whip for a while. It sat for a bit because I wasn't happy with the way it was going because I wasn't sure how to fix it. And I realized I'm not going to fix it. Nope. I just left it. I was like, you know what? It's good enough the way it is, and that's fine with me. The only thing I did to finish up the whip was put the washi tape around the border. So the background is all soft pastel. The palm leaves are Prismacolor. And then I've got white Posca to create all these bubbles and all of the ripples in the water. Prismacolor for the rocks as well. And then over top of the fish, this is what I wasn't happy with. I put some watercolor, some pearlescent watercolor over top of them, but it kind of bled out and didn't stay in the fish. And then it kind of washed out the lines and I wasn't sure. But then based on the background and all, you know, the way this picture was going, I thought, you know what, it just causes them to have this really ethereal look to them. So upon looking at it again, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to let them be and pretend that I meant to do that. And that works out. So that is Fabiana Attanassio's Paradise. Next is Melpomene Chattopadagatu's Circle of Life. And again, this was kind of a long-term whip. I had originally done a color along to the background of this. I had done Albrecht Dürer for the water, like for the entire thing. I based the entire thing in activated Albrecht Dürer. And then also along in that, I included the shading that I did using Polychromos for the water. I was going to film the rest of it after that, but then I kind of started filming it and I realized that I had no idea which direction I was going with it, and I didn't really like the direction it was going, so I stopped because I needed to figure it out. So as I went, I kind of figured it out. I'm still not 100% happy with the way it turned out. I like a lot of it, but there's just some things I would change. For example, the sharks ended up a lot pinker than I wanted them to, but c'est la vie. That is how it's going to be. So obviously Albrecht Dürer did most of it. Some Polychromos for shading. All the fish and stuff were all Polychromos. We've got Jelly Roll Glaze in white doing all of the little bubbles and everything, and the foam on the waves. We've got Jelly Roll Metallics, Sparkle Pops, you name it. We've got lots of things in here. But it turned out pretty good, all things considered. But again, there are some things in this I would change. But still not bad. So that's Melpomene's Circle of Life. Next, more Camellia. We have 50 Springtime Mandalas. This was surprisingly a labor of love. So this was an experiment using my glazing liquid. I based it all with glazing liquid, and then I used Albrecht Dürer and Polychromos over top. Doing these eggs in Polychromos over top of all of that was a pain. It was very hard on my hands. It did not like it. The Polychromos were not happy with this situation, but I had started it, so I had to finish it. So all Albrecht Dürer and Polychromos, and then some Sakura Glaze and some Sparkle Pop. All things considered, it looks nice, but yeah, I would not do it again. That was a lot of work. So that's 50 Springtime Mandalas. And finally, we're on our last one. And this is a project book for me. It's a personal project. I'm not doing it with anyone, but this is my Anamorphia book. The very first adult coloring book I received, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the second one. I think the first one was Joanna Basford's Lost Ocean. I think this was the second one. And as you can see, this book is incredibly well loved. I've done a lot of work in it, a lot of whips in here as well, a lot of experimentation. I would like to finish this book as much as possible. There might be some things I can't finish due to the nature of how I experimented, things like that, but I would like to try and get it as finished as possible. Now that's going to take me a lifetime, I'm sure. I mean, I'm almost a third of the way through it, so that's nice. But anyway, so the one that we worked on this month, and this was a long time whip, I think this took me 3 months to complete, is this double betta spread. Of course, I can just pick them up because they fell out, obviously. But yeah, so this was all done with, the background is Prismacolor. The bettas themselves are Albrecht Dürer and Polychromos. The little creatures, doodles, etc., they're all, I think, mixture of Polychromos, Prismacolor, all the pencils I have. I just kind of used whatever was fitting me at the time. The clouds are an iridescent acrylic paint in lavender. I used a lavender paint pen to outline them all. And then, of course, there's mixed gel pens, Jelly Roll Glaze for the eyes. But yeah, so they turned out quite nice, actually. You'll notice, I don't know if you can see this, but on the red betta, the background is cool purples, and on the blue, it's warm purples. Little note there in case you didn't notice. So that was, that took a long time. That background on its own, all Prismacolor, hoo-wee, that probably took as long as the rest of it all together. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. She turned out really nice. So the next one that I'm working on, I'll give you a little sneak peek of my whip. I have two that I actually have on the go. So I have the other half of this bird, wanted to finish. And I have one more. Where are you? There. And I have this big fish. This is a long-term whip as well. I had started it using some random watercolor pencils. And now I'm starting to try and fill it out using Prismacolor and whatever else suits. It's probably going to be a hodgepodge of different materials. But yeah, so though hopefully we'll see one of those two done next month. But that is it, folks. That is all I have to show you for today. So just make sure you're liking and subscribing. If you see anything in these books that you want to color with me, I'm open to buddy colors. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. And I hope you have a lovely day. Continue your coloring and take care. Bye now.